The Church of Christ was descended on the 29th of September 1947. And 1947 for some reason happened to be some kind of weird year. Because it was the same 1947 that they had a year for Christ in Mexico. And it was the same year that the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. And that's including the Nag Hammadi scrolls that were discovered in Egypt. And for me, 1947 is not just an ordinary year. The church was descended through a man called Bilewu Oshofa, and he was a carpenter by profession, and he attended the Methodist church. So Oshofa went back into the forest to go about his tree, like he's what he went in there to do, which is like finding trees to use for his profession, and he got lost in the forest. But I wouldn't say got lost, because at the end of the day, it's like it was all part of the divine thing. He was stuck in the forest for 3 months, and during that 3 months, he was being spoken to by voices which were higher than voices of human beings. Even sometimes they used animals to communicate with him, like birds, monkeys, snakes, and whatever. And within that particular 3 months, he was given, he was told the mission which has been endowed him, which was a mission of healing people and preaching the gospel of Christ.
I'm the shepherd of this church, Celestial Church of Christ, Edward Street Parish. The aim of the church is to really help those that are weak in spirit, those that have been troubled by the world. When I mean troubled by the world, those that will need the love of Christ to achieve their objectives, spiritually, socially, materially, and etc. The objective is to make sure that people love Christ and behave the way of the Lord.
All ailments from our body.
Amen.
Give us good health to worship it to the end of our life.
Amen.
Oh God Almighty, your God of protection, come and protect us, oh God.
Amen.
Apart from me, I have other evangelists under me. I have evangelists, substantive homes, and honorary evangelists, and gradually downwards like that. And I have some women as well, from late superior elder sisters to superior elder sisters, senior elder sisters, keep elder sisters, brothers and sisters. But what is paramount in this affair is that we all work together as a team.
I am this superior elder senior sister, mother. That's my son.
This is the cycle you have to use these materials.
Tenants of the church, we are not allowed to drink alcohol or any form of alcohol. We cannot take. We cannot smoke any type of cigarettes. We are not allowed to wear red or black apparel, whatever form. Sex is our job, like a lawyer or anything. We can wear it, we can wear it in the church. My job is to look after the women, to take care of them. If they have problems, they can come to me, and if I get to know, even if they don't come to me, if I get to know about it, I will approach them and make sure the problem is solved. Those people wearing green, they are the evangelists in the altar. You can see them sitting at the high altar there. The people wearing their evangelists. There are some wearing yellow. You will see them in yellow robe down. They are assistant evangelists. And the people wearing blue, they are senior evangelists.
The role of music is fantastic. Music came to life with this church. you start the service with the music, and everybody adjusts themselves to the prevailing wind, all your sorrows are gone. You are spiritually inclined. Your faith is established. And then all things that have been impossible are made possible.
We have a song called Jerry Moyama. But it's just really something to call us into service. And like that, we sing outside the church. Because we don't start the service in the church. We start the service outside the church. And Jerry Moyama brings us into the church. After that, we sing another song. Because this is all like uniform. This is how this is a set service. We sing another song called Yara Sara Yara Samata. And the interpretation of that is in Yoruba is Eton Fitila Mi Moratonwa, which interprets in English to be light up the candle, the holy candle from heaven above. With that song, they light the candlesticks. We use 3 candlesticks on Wednesday and Friday services, and 7 on Sundays. There's a specific way in which the songs are chosen, because you have subsections that you can choose the songs from. But anybody who is in the choir, especially the choir master, has to know the appropriate the appropriate subsections to choose from in the order of service. Because you can't, say, choose a song for forgiveness of sins for the first hymn, then go and choose a song of blessing for the second hymn. No, it doesn't, that's confusion.
It was an injunction from God that these are the songs that want you to use them for the services. So we list them according to the categories: for Holy Spirit, for evangelism, for thanks, for forgiveness of sins.
Songs for forgiveness, songs of thanksgiving, songs of thanks offering, songs for blessing, songs for marriage ceremony, songs for burial ceremony, songs for victory, songs for spiritual power, songs for spiritual enlightenment, songs for spiritual love, and so many other songs in different categories. All the music in the Celestial Hymn Book are from the celestial realm, because they come through people going in spirit. And that's how Celestials got their song. It wasn't a situation of someone sitting down and saying, yeah, let's check out B minor because it's sad, or it's diminished, augmented because it's interesting. No, when the church was at the beginning stage, according to the constitution of the church, which is this one, there was one of Oshofa's nephews who was very prominent in bringing songs, and his name is Ma Munyo. But Ma Munyo was giving songs sometimes in language that wasn't known to the people around. In most cases, they come in both translations. The ones that don't come in both translations are left the way they are.
Translates into the unknown language of the spirit.
But it happens in the spirit, the person in the spirit. All the service songs and songs for, say, spiritual jobs are all taken from the hymn books. Songs for thanksgiving and sometimes collections are taken from either the hymn book or might just be compositions by people. The choir composes their own thing, but there are specific areas where they use it. The choir can't compose a hymn song. and you cannot replace a hymn book song with, like a song from, from a private compilation, whatever. Even, there are cases when prophets bring the new songs from spirit. You can't use that to replace songs that are in the hymn book. You can sing them during Thanksgiving. You can even, in some cases, you can sing them when you're doing victory job or blessing job, but you cannot sing them in the like where you're supposed to have hymn songs. So after the sermon, we go into what is known as the collection, and during the collection now, it's all improvised stuff. Like you're singing one song, and in some cases, people write down the songs that they want to sing and try to link them into each other, because it's not like singing one and stopping, singing, stopping, and stopping. You sing one song, to link it to the next, link it to the next. You might change style in the middle, those sorts of things. But it's all improvised stuff. There's hardly any ceremony that is not accompanied by reading, music, chanting, or a combination of all. Celestial music was based on high life. That was like the real traditional celestial music. Very, very laid back high life. Because it was the kind of music that you can, sit to and just, rock to. It wasn't the kind of fast high life that wasn't appropriate in the church. And any instruments that fitted into that particular style of music was welcomed. Initially, celestial music started with percussion. Like drum, you had 2 bongo drums, a bass drum and a samba, and gongs. Like got to a stage where guitars came in and other instruments came in. There isn't any rules on what instruments you can play in the choir. You play whatever is available. After the collection, we have Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is like people who God has done one thing or the other in their life, who are happy and want to come and thank God for what God has done in their life or whatever. And with that now, again, it's another improvised stuff. But that one is more dance stuff. Because it's like symbolically you're dancing to the representative of God, who are going to receive your thanksgiving on behalf of the celestial beings. Even when you see them line up, it's like really and truly being in heaven. The music that we play during the Thanksgiving is much more danceable, because it's like you're dancing to the front. You start at the door, you have the elders lining up in front, and they have to dance to the front. So the music has to have some kind of dance energy in it.
Dance away your sorrows, the Spirit of God descends and directs you in your daily affairs and tells you what God wants to do for you within a reasonable time. And once those objectives are achieved, you come back again to give glory to God by way of thanksgiving.
We're looking forward to God for some things, and by bringing thanksgiving to show appreciation or many other things. Expecting things from God. So that's how it is.
In most African spiritual gatherings, the drums is always prominent. In churches that have guitars, you start with the guitar, and most of the time it gets to a stage where people just leave the guitar alone, and it becomes just pure percussion, and it's always so wonderful, because then you see people go in spirit. You can see that people are really spiritual. The African spiritual churches now took the place of the native doctors. The native doctors in the African community before Christianity were like professional doctors, professional psychologists. And with the advent of the Europeans coming in bulk onto the continent, they were dubbed evil people. And people were kind of moving away from the native doctors. Africans were walking about lost because they were, most of them were practicing religion that they hardly understood. And they had the situation where someone goes to the Catholic Church during the day, and at night he looks around and goes into a native doctor's house. And he's here and there, here and there, here and there. But like African spiritual churches were the churches where, hey, you're here and everything that you need is there. Because all the things you're going to go to a native doctor to sort out can be sorted out in the church. These religions developed from the people, from the way of life, because it's all about dancing, having praying so hard, going in spirit, and things like that. And these are the background to the birth of the Celestial Church of Christ. So Oshofa started with few friends in this area and doing good deeds and curing people and this and that. But the truth is, Celestial Church started in the Yoruba region of West Africa, which includes Benin Republic and some part of Nigeria, because Nigeria wasn't named Nigeria until after 1887, and even by the time the British invaded my own hometown, which is Ijebu, in 1892, they didn't even know they were Nigerians, even though they've already been capped into Nigeria. They were invaded to find out that, oh shit, we're Nigerians. And those were the background things that gave back to the church. But the more they did the gatherings, the more prophecies came. Because it's that's when they had the false prophets. That's when they started having songs. In most African religious ceremonies, music and going in spirit are common things. Even there's some prophets that even prophesize by singing. Instead of talking, they sing. But really and truly, they telling you the divine message that they're getting.
Those that are wearing blue, male side they are prophets. The female side that are wearing blue with some color robe, they are prophetess. That's the foretell the future. That's their job. If anything wants to happen, we approach it. We can see them shaking them, and then we go and approach any member and tell whatever Jesus asked them to tell. That's their job.
You don't even have to go to a prophet. You need a prophecy before a prophet comes to you, because if there's any danger in your way, a prophet goes in spirit and tells you what the danger is, tells you what to do. There are times when people force themselves to go into the spirit, but most of the time people who go in spirit don't want to go in spirit. I know people who want to go home, and it's like the spirit will take them all the way from the bus stop back to the church. Yeah, it can be embarrassing. But this is where, because some people think it's made up things and whatever. Some of them are fake. And even they were fake prophets in the time of Jesus, according to the Bible. So why wouldn't they be now? It's like, we have specific songs that are for putting people in spirit. But again, it's like all songs can put people into spirit. And songs that are meant to put people into spirit might not put people into spirit. Because it depends on your state of mind. It depends on how receptive you are to the music. If the playing is good, the church will be interested, and the people will go in spirit more. And if the playing is not too good, then the church will be dull. And if the church is dull, nobody goes in spirit, which means the service is not exactly interesting. In most African spiritual churches, I mean, it's like the choir plays a very, very prominent role.
If the choir is not there, then the church is dull. If the choir fails to start at the right time, I mean the members of the choir do not form quorum to give us standard music, when you know something is wrong with the church.
I'm the choir master of Celestial Church of Christ, Edward Street Parish, London, Southeast 14. On Saturday, when we gather together, either myself or any of my members, it could be any of the ladies, I've asked them, please choose the songs. They're actually doing one as at this very moment. They're choosing the songs that we're going to sing, the hymnal songs, for tomorrow's service. So after the songs has been chosen, what we then do is we gather together and we practice all those songs and we sing them out.
We don't arrange hymn songs. Hymn songs are like start and go. When they bring the song in spirit, the song has already got its melody. So you don't tamper with the melody because it's already there. So you play your instrument to go with the melody that was given when the song descended. The melody doesn't change. The musical, depends on mood. I can pick up the guitar now. It's like I can't remember a bass line. And I've been playing the bass in that church for about 10 years. You can't say, what bass do you normally play to hymn 407? I don't know.
Because it changes every week.
Yeah, it depends on the mood. It depends on the feel. It depends on the people you're playing with. It depends on the weather. It depends on the atmosphere. It depends on so many things. It depends on you as well. There's no set. The only ways you can have set ways is if you're playing from sheet music. And I don't think any celestial hymn is in that form. Celestial music is not strict music where our music is not even musically written down. It's like you pick up the hymn book, and as time goes on, you pick up the songs. There are some of the songs in the hymn book that are written in tonic solfa, but that's just in a handful. It's not all the songs.
So the words are in the hymn book.
The words are in the hymn book. You learn the melody as you go along. It's very common these days to sing hymn songs in different styles. Like you can sing the song in reggae or sing the song in whatever. The singers can sing to anything. You just supply the groove. We get them to sing, and an instrument, like a tuned instrument, finds where they are. We try them on that for about 2-3 weeks consecutively. If they are fifth on that key, then that's the key we're going to use. We also arrange the music, and that can be done by anybody who has that talent. Not necessarily the choir master, maybe the guitarist, maybe one of the chorus singer who has ears for arrangement. Because the celestial system is very, very flexible. Nobody is really like the big boss man. We also practice arrangements in the choir store. Because people come with arrangements and we practice them. Some arrangements we pick up from records or other materials. We might have some arrangements whereby when we are playing high life, we're gonna count 4, pam, 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 and it just drop to wara, or it might be vice versa, or it might be, from the wara we just want to go straight to reggae.
So whatever songs they sing here, I will try and play reggae with it if I can, or play calypso. Why am I in the choir? The fact that I'm interested in the music and that I have a vision. My vision is to, if you like, to close the breach, if you like, or the gap between the children and the church. And by that I mean the adults in the church. And the very best way you can do that is not by you just going downstairs or teaching the children, but also by involving yourself in other activities within the church, in which then you can pass on to them and expose them occasionally to all these activities. So being a member of the choir, I'm a liaison officer, if you like, in that sense. So I have the opportunity to actually bring them up, and they can learn or watch or do whatever.
Even now, we're looking into training our kids as well, the little children, into getting them into the musical mood. Every Sundays, myself and the welfare officer, who is in charge of the Sunday school as well, I'll go down to the Sunday school and we'll do a little bit of choir practice with them, maybe for about half an hour or like 45 minutes. So thereby we're building them up, because during the juvenile harvest, we let the children take control of, so not just the service alone, the children do the sermon, as well as we let them do their own singing. So they compose their songs, and then we're now training them, to be able to play the musical instrument.
And we have so many musical instruments. Anything they want, the church is prepared to give to them to make sure they are happy in discharging their duties.
I want to talk to you about the selection of the members of the choir. To start with, we don't really specify that, you must have attained a certain level. But while you're here, we try to see how quickly can you catch up to the level that you required. And from time to time, we will give advance warning to any member that we feel needs any additional training. So maybe they'll have to see some of our members behind to add more training, or even their own self-dedication as well, which is very important. Naturally, we allow both women and men to train themselves, or we give them training as they require to play musical instruments as well as to sing. That way, if they can do all sorts, then we have our own flexibility. We try to make sure that we can do more than one particular thing at a time. Sometimes maybe when I have some other people that can play the drums, I can let them go on the drums and play. And I play the keyboards. I trained myself on the drums and the keyboards. I will not say there hasn't been someone who has said one thing to me about the keyboards, that this is key C, that's A, B, C, D. Plus I bought some books myself, which I was looking through them and I play alongside, right? So with the books, with my own dedication and my time that I created for it, I was able to improve little by little. It took a while, but one good thing is I did not lose hope.
I happened to be one of the few people who understood music at times, and that had to do with the fact that when I was back home, when I was picking up the guitar, I bought books, and even until today I still have a lot of books on music.
I was able to inspire from my childhood. I like singing, and that's it. I joined the choir.
So you just learn from other people?
Yeah, just like when they're teaching up a song, we just keep the length from there.
Someone has a composition, they dictate it to the choir. All choir members have their own hymn book, which is just a notebook where you write new songs. Once they've dictated it, we learn it verse by verse without the instruments. Then once they know the melody from the top to the bottom, we start bringing the instruments in. And if there's any arrangements, that's when we start doing the arrangements. Once we know the melody of the song. And that's how we learn melodies. The aspect we're trying to develop now is an aspect whereby, to an extent, everybody in the choir is musically literate. Relatively, to say grade 3. they accidentally play complicated chords, especially the ones who play high life. Because I mean, it's like high life is some complicated music. Even though the people who are playing it don't know that they are playing augmented 7 or diminished flat this or that or that. To them, it's just natural for them to play that way. But now, like, you're starting to have people who are Western music literates. Because I mean, I won't say who are musical